writing my songs for you. Was down in the Garden of Eden. Well, baby, I was alone, but no, I had the sea and blues.
The last time we spoke, I was in a van living in the Netherlands, I think, at the time.
That sounds about right. Did you come here from the UK?
I've been living 2021. I've been living in Los Angeles, so I came from there.
Okay.
And I'm going to head back to the UK after this for some music-y things.
Right.
And
very good. So it sounds like you've been busy traveling around when, even though you're locked in at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a good time to gather yourself.
Well, exactly. And New Zealand has always been that for me.
Right.
And I think, I don't know. It feels like the people here, our behavior is reflected by, like, nature is the reflection of that for us. So I always love coming here. It feels like a reset.
Right. Although yesterday was kind of a different kind of reset down in Wellington. So I don't know what was going on there.
Oh yeah. I was pouring out some drinks and watching that live stream go down.
Man.
I know. Frustrating. Very frustrating. Just ignorance is frustrating.
Yes, it is. Anyway, so you've got, in the meantime, you've recorded an EP that you're going to be releasing in a little while. So something more pleasant to talk about. But before we get into the nitty gritty, so music wise, what have you been up to in, say, the last year or so? What has your main thing been?
In the last year, where are we? Okay. Well, I moved to Los Angeles, and it was the first time in my life living by myself. So that was a really important time for me as an artist, just to kind of like figure out actually what my process looks like, because it's always been a process of what can you do, what can you produce on the road or on the move, or like living in squats, or wherever you can, how can you make it come out. So it's been the first time like really just sitting with it, and that's been lovely. And prior to that, I wanted to make this music, and London is where I was for the last 9 years, so I have a lot of good music connections there, and I wanted to make the record with only women in the studio, and so got connected to some really amazing engineers. And
was it hard to do that?
Wahine? Yes. Well, I mean, you ask around. There's, but you do have to search. It's not right. It's not like. It's not as easy. I mean, there's just so many men in the industry. So you search around, and every woman that came in to record or to work on the record remarked at how this was the first session that they done where it was all female. And so that I found that kind of, we're out there, we don't get connected very well because you're always a sort of special one lady in the room.
Yep.
So it was just such a special time to like record that, and then over the year that followed of it, being produced and being mixed, and a lot of it happened in the studio, and like trips back to London when I can to mix it. But a lot of it was done online as well, which was pretty interesting, and something that I didn't really enjoy, but we got there in the end. So doing that, and then working with my band Neon Grew, trying to get a full album together, and making the content for that sort of across the globe, and trying to make it look like we're a cohesive band that all live in one place, which is never going to happen. So that's been a fun challenge. And then we did a Harry Styles US leg tour.
And how was that? Was that fun?
Amazingly fun. It felt like it was definitely a challenge, because we were the first sort of big touring group to head back on the road and try and do that in a way that was safe enough to inspire the rest of the industry to get going. So it was, it wasn't as fun as it could have been because of all the COVID protocols, but worth it. And it was just nice to like be back at a job. You know?
Yep. Cool.
And so feeling privileged to do that. So, yeah.
All right. So I've had a chance to listen to the EP. There's 5 songs on it. So maybe we can just, while we're here, if we have time, we can just kind of briefly hit on each one so people get an idea what they're in for. And it begins with a song called Songlines, if I'm not mistaken. So what can you tell me about that?
Songlines, it was just to kind of like the song that follows it, Australia. I wanted to set a scene for that song because I feel like the message in it has always felt very strong for me. And how can I get someone in the right space to hear that message? So Songlines was like, let's make a instrumental track that makes somebody feel like they are in Australia, but also sort of in the dream time. And the title was inspired by a book called Songlines by Bruce Chatwin, which is one of my favorite books ever. He was a early 40s anthropological travel writer and kind of one of the only travel writers who hasn't aged in a kind of racist or touristic way of looking at indigenous cultures. So yeah, it's kind of like homage to him and setting this scene and trying to emanate the sounds of Australia without using indigenous instruments, because I'm a white girl. I should not be playing the didgeridoo.
Fair enough. All right. And speaking of Australia, that's the name of the second song.
I woke up from my dream to a figure standing before me, brought to life by the light of the full moon beaming outside.
That's the name of the second song, and that was inspired by travels through Australia and just seeing the devastation in the land in these parts of Australia that you'd never even know existed, and the coal seam gas mining that's happening out there in the outback that most people will never see, but the communities and indigenous communities that live around them are so affected, like physically and spiritually, and just the continued ignorance of what's going on there. So I just wanted to highlight that in that song. And
musically, it's got a very nice bass line and it's kind of jazzy sounding.
Yeah, well, I had a bassist come in on the session and play double bass on it. And then when we were mixing it, it just wasn't quite sitting right, and I was like, it just wasn't quite working. And the drum part as well needed a bit more space in it, and I sent it to my friend Jonathan Wilson in America. He's a great drummer, he's very vibey, so I was like, can you put some drums on this? And then he sent it back to me and he was like, I'm sorry, I just had to put some fretless bass on it because I bought the fretless bass and it just sounded really good. And yeah, it lifted the track and brought more of a melodic element to the bass, which I didn't realize I even needed. So that was special, and I think
that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I know,
cool.
and it was all just because he just bought this fretless bass and was stoked about it. So it was just good timing on that one.
Cool. That's great. All right, then we move on to Only Lovers on the Late Night Tube, which is kind of piano-based thing, right?
It must have been Friday again. I'm stuck imagining I don't have to ride the tube alone again.
Piano based stuff. That one, when I play it live, I bring the drums in at the end and it kind of turns into this like shuffle train vibe, but I wanted to I wanted to leave it for the record and like have a song that felt like it could be an old classic and that it could be taken by anyone and rearranged. And yeah, I met this amazing Estonian classical composer during lockdown in London. We ended up living together accidentally, and I just hearing her in her room every day just banging, and I was like, this is incredible. Hey, can you take this 2-chord song and turn it into something that's like harmonically interesting? And yeah, her arrangement of that for me changes the entire song. And then lyrically, it's been a funny song because the lyrics changed for me quite a lot, and those lyrics, half the lyrics I wrote on the train on the way to the session. And yeah, it was a like sort of a 2 a.m. really rough vocal take, and we decided to keep it. And that song is kind of, I feel, the secret gem on the record because it's very raw and very honest.
Cool. So that takes us to Garden of Eden, which I see you've just released a video for.
I'll see you and you see me, the man on the rock. So you'd say to me every day, oh no, a sentiment used to charm me, but I always found myself running away to stay.
That was a lot of fun. That was the day after Harry's tour had finished filming in freezing cold New York, feeling like I didn't really have much of a brain, but a really fun thing to do. I'd gone out for dinner a couple of weeks before with the director, and I told him my plan of making a music video for Garden of Eden with this Sony Handycam footage that I've been shooting, and he was just like, you can't do that to my favorite song. We're going to make a video.
Oh, great.
So I was like, great. Well, if you're going to help me concept it, then let's go. And I love how he saw the lyrics and how we embodied it in a video. So I'm very proud of it. And that song for me has really carried me through my 20s in a big way, and like has opened a lot of doors for me. And so I've re-recorded that song 5 times maybe, and it's never been right. It's never been sonically right. And I think I had to grow into it and grow into my own confidence of being able to articulate what I wanted in the studio for people to play it the way that I heard it. So I'm just, to be able to put that song out in the world, I feel very happy and proud. And there's a long version that's going to be on the EP, and I really love that version because it's just turns into fun at the end. And there's like an audio clip of my friend's daughter in there laughing from like 6 years ago because I promised him I'd put that in there, and like just these little things that are like, it's a memory vault, that song. And love it.
Very cool. And it wraps up with Be Free. What's that all about?
Now I've played several roles in the comedy that I've been living. The angel, the healer, the poor, the dancer, the fool. And your love was the fire that burned all those masks into ashes.
Be Free. Be Free, I guess, was like, came at a time when I was listening to like way too much Leonard Cohen.
Oh, there's no such thing.
No, you're right. You're so right, and I still do it all the time. But just like writing a really simple song and focusing more on the story and trying to write a song that didn't need anything else and didn't could be sung around a campfire. I love that's my favorite kind of music, and so I wanted to make sure that there was something on this record that is like my roots in that way. And that's why it's recorded live in a church, because I was like, I don't want to studio produce this, and what's that gonna actually do? Gonna add, like, if we want to add reverb, let's just go to a fucking church and do it. So we did that, and the harmonies that the Kazi sisters put on there like help lift it into a ethereal place. And it's nice to end the CD with like some grassroots feel.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
how I'm feeling.
Cool. So what have you been getting up to while you've been in New Zealand? Have you been traveling around a little bit, or you've been more isolated and laying low?
No, I've been traveling around. My whānau live in Nelson and Motueka, so spent a bit of time in the South Island. I got put in MIQ in Christchurch, so spent way more time in the South Island than I thought I would, but I love it down there. My brother just bought a bus, so we've been driving around, and then I've been up in the North Island for a few weeks, and I've played some gigs. I didn't plan to play any gigs, and they've just been sort of sprung on me, and I was like, yeah. And it's been really nice actually to play those shows, those intimate shows, and remember why I play music, and it's only just for me. Like my 96-year-old great uncle, I went to visit him in Napier, and he didn't tell me. We just turn up at the pub, and he says, "Oh, bring your guitar in." And I walk into the pub, and they were like, "Oh, you're here to play the gig," and I was like, "Sorry, what?"
Whoa.
And so I'm playing unamplified in the West Shore pub, so that my great uncle can get his free dinner, which was just amazing. And you know, no one could really hear me, and there was a lot going on, and it was really noisy, and I just had to do it, and it was like so beautifully humbling. And
Right.
I had to like sit there and realize the only reason you play music night is for yourself.
Yeah.
And so you just have to sit and play for yourself. And like I need those reminders, especially after like playing those crazy arenas with Harry, where it's
Right. That's,
you know,
that's a big jump, isn't it?
go and play in the West Shore pub for your great uncle.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you got it all covered. So what are you looking forward to the most once the EP is out? What are you looking forward to doing?
What, musically?
Yeah, musically. Why not?
No. Well, I'm just looking forward to seeing where it ends up, and like all of the little cubby holes that your music finds, like,
Yep.
and you know, my moments of inspiration, inspiring moments of inspiration for other people. I love that. And I don't really mind, you know, like with the promotion side of things, and like, and all that kind of agents helping you do these things and trying to get results for you. And for me, it's like, music always ends up where it needs to end up. And I'm not in a rush, and I'm just happy to see where that goes. And I'm just working on new music, and just trying to get ready to keep the ball rolling and
Keep the ball rolling.
drip feeding some music. Yeah.
Yep. Very good. All righty. Well, it sounds like it's all happening. Thanks for making the EP. I can't wait to hopefully.
Thanks for listening.
No, my pleasure. Believe me. All righty. Well, hang in there, and good luck with your traveling around. We'll see how things go. All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.